Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Handmaiden, a drama, romance, thriller hybrid that is directed by Chan-wook Park and is one of the higher profile South Korean films from 2016. Now there are plenty of critic reviews out there that cover this movie already. I think IMDb alone shows close to 200 critical reviews in its external reviews page. So I'm not sure how much more I'm going to contribute to what's already been discussed, but I just wanted to briefly give you my thoughts on this one. It was adapted from a novel, actually, and I was somewhat surprised to hear this. The novel is called Fingersmith by Welsh writer Sarah Waters, with the setting changed for film purposes from the Victorian era to Korea under Japanese rule. So it's set in the 1930s, and the story revolves around three main characters. You have a noble lady, played by Min-hee Kim, who has inherited a fortune. A swindler count, played by Jung-woo Ha, who is after the noble lady's fortune. And a young female pickpocket, played by Tae-Ri Kim, who is hired by the swindler count for his purposes. So we're introduced to our main characters very early on, and the focus is placed on them for the entire runtime. There's not a whole lot of plot here during the opening half. So, it showcases and chooses to rely on the character interaction to kind of set things up. And that places quite a bit of pressure on the actors to carry it from start to finish. But most fortunately, we have three central performances here that are very impressive. So you have Min-hee Kim, who is still a younger actress, but she's been around for a while. Her film career started with supporting roles in Asako and Ruby's Shoes from 2000 and Surprise Party from 2002, both of which are very entertaining movies, by the way. And actually, I have seen all 11 of her feature films, and I would say that every single one of them is at least good, if not very good. My personal favorites of her filmography, I think, are Hellcats from 2008 and Very Ordinary Couple from 2013. So if you want to explore a talented actress with a quality filmography, Min-hee Kim is a fine choice. Now, in The Handmaiden, she starts off with a rather cool persona, especially early on, but she warms up a bit and shows a bit more, complexity as the film progresses and her character is fleshed out a bit more. Now, Jung-woo Ha is the male lead. He's awesome in just about everything he's in. In fact, Jung-woo Ha is so awesome that people like watching him eat food. Yes, it is said that this man eats food in such a delicious manner that if you watch him eat, you will become uncontrollably hungry. I'm not joking. He's that awesome. Go check on YouTube or Google it. Jung-woo Ha eats. You'll get hundreds upon thousands of search results for that. People just love watching this guy eat food. He's that awesome. So newcomer Tae-Ri Kim apparently beat out 1,500 applicants for her role in Handmaiden, and it's a very solid acting debut that won her some awards. She plays a somewhat naive character in this movie, and I found her to be totally convincing. Very good job. She has really good chemistry with Min-hee Kim, too, which is important in this case because they have a lot of time on screen together in this. And I definitely look forward to this actress's future projects. Very, very good debut film from her. So all of this impressive acting is thankfully assisted by a good screenplay. It kind of kicks the story into gear a bit more during the second half. As I said before, much of the first half is concerned with setting things up with the characters. So the filmmakers kind of take their time in revealing the more complicated story elements until later on. But don't worry, because there are many entertaining turns of events to enjoy, which I won't spoil here, of course. But I must say that this movie did not play out quite like I had expected going into it. And that's a good thing. It uses the technique of replaying certain scenes again later on for the purpose of showing something that you did not see the first time. So it might show you a scene or a segment of a scene during the first half, Then in the second half, it re-shows you that scene maybe from a different angle or giving you more context as to what was really going on there. I like that. Also, just be wary that Japanese language is used at times. Keep your ear out for it, because I might need to watch the movie again, but I think the use of Japanese language by the Korean characters may have been used at certain points to convey some additional character development. But I wasn't really looking out for it when I saw this movie. So I noticed when Japanese was used, but I didn't really think about until after the fact, like, wait a second. There was probably a reason why they started speaking Japanese during that particular scene. Because this is an occupied Korea. And during that time, the Japanese were starting to, basically force the Koreans to learn Japanese because the Japanese were trying to assimilate their culture into it. But in this particular film, I think the Japanese is used probably for a meaning, so just keep your ear out for that. But if I were to make a few criticisms of The Handmaiden, I would say that the least interesting moments for me personally would be the flashback scenes that arrive near the midpoint, as well as any of the scenes that do not involve one or both of the lead actresses. That's not to say that these moments are poor by any means, but I definitely found the dynamics involving the women to be more intriguing. So when they are not present, I found it a bit dry going and stuffy, if that makes sense. I understand that these flashback scenes are important for the entire second half of the film, but I still think that they could have been streamlined a bit, maybe, because the film loses a bit of momentum during that middle section, in my opinion. Now, I have heard that there was some controversy over the handling of the sex scenes in this movie, of which there are only a few. There's only like 3, maybe, sex scenes, and they are, I don't know, rather graphic, I guess. I'm really the wrong guy to be talking or expressing an opinion on this matter to normal viewers, because, I'm a fan of Japanese directors like Sion Sono, Takashi Ishii, and Hisayasu Sato, who have showcased just truckloads of perverted sex throughout their filmography, so I guess I'm just kind of used to it. But, what I will say is that the sex scenes that do bother me in movies are the ones that just, seemingly come from out of nowhere, the ones that serve no purpose, and contradict the tone of the film around them. You know what I mean? In the case of The Handmaiden, the sensuality is actually presented right up front within the first 20 minutes, and consistently it's presented throughout, usually in more classy ways, so to speak. So, when the moments of sex arrive, they kind of feel like the proper culmination of what came before them. At least that's what I thought. They just don't come from out of nowhere for the sake of themselves. They're kind of for the sake of the characters and story, and they seem to be consistent with the tone and purpose of the film overall. So I didn't really have a problem with them. In terms of aesthetics overall, The Handmaiden is a very beautiful film, as I'm sure just about every critic has pointed out, both in terms of how it's shot as well as the set designs. The mansion in this film is just extravagant and provides a great setting. The budget for this film is less than $9 million American dollars, by the way. So keep that in mind. Less than $9 million, and this movie looks like a first-class production. Of course, Chan-wook Park has a history of creating, proficient visuals as a director, and, so that's really no surprise here. I just hope that this man makes more than 2 feature-length Korean films over the next 10 years, because that's all he's made during the last 10. You know what I mean? I think, he was churning out real high-quality stuff during the first, portion of his filmography. I'm not sure if maybe he got a little lazy, or, if he just wanted to take more time between films, but, ever since I'm a Cyborg, But That's Okay from 2006, which is very underrated, by the way, he's basically only released Thirst, Stoker, and The Handmaiden. He's had some shorter films in there, too, which I've seen and are good, but, I'm kind of hoping he picks up the pace a little bit. He's still pretty young as a director. He's only 50. So hopefully he can give us some, a nice number of classics in the future. So those were my brief thoughts on The Handmaiden. I definitely recommend it, and it is available on Region 3 DVD right now, and Blu-ray, of course, on websites like Yes Asia and eBay. And I'm pretty sure it's going to get a Region 1 American release, and probably a Region 2 UK release at some point, just because the director's so popular. So that's good. Definitely check this one out. It's a good one. And as always, we'll see you next time.